Welcome back on Mirchi, New Jersey to the Immigration Hour with the NPZ Law Group, the preeminent international immigration and nationality law firm at your service in New Jersey, New York, Indiana, with affiliated offices in India and Canada. So, Lutka, let's talk a little bit about the visas for international students and the associated work authorization.
That's a good question. And often, obviously F1 students, that's the most typical visa for students, brings a lot to the US economy. So we deal with it quite a lot. But I just want to point out that, purpose of international students is to study and not to work. So when they're coming to the United States, unlike Canada, it's for full-time study. But of course, there are different opportunities, and that's what we're going to discuss. So once the student is in the US, again, typically with F1 visa, they have several options. For example, number one, it's an on-campus employment. There is no work authorization required. This could be approved by international student advisor, and the person can work on campus for 20 hours. So it's a great opportunity. And then in summer, they can actually work full-time. Then we have CPT. That's pretty popular. That's a curricular practical training. And this is during the school. So the individual or student can work. Again, employment authorization is not required. International student officer can approve it, and the person can actually work either part-time or full-time. I do not recommend the full-time because if the student uses 12 months of the full-time, then they are not eligible for OPT. And that's what, it's the best. So optional practical training typically comes after the degree. So it's after associate degree, after bachelor's degree, master's degree. So at each educational level, the person gets 1 year or 12 months of work permit. And if they are studying in STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, or mathematics, they can even get STEM extension on OPT, and they can work for additional 24 months at each educational level. So they can pretty much have 3 years at bachelor's level. If they are doing STEM at master's, additional 3 years. So that's a lot of time potentially to apply for H-1B. And that's typically the path for most of the international students going from F1 to OPT, H-1B, green card.
Okay, so that's the path.
Yes, very typical. And then, of course, citizenship.
Right. Wow, wonderful. So much of insight on that. And thank you for that. Do you want to add something more, Lutka?
The one point that I want to make is about when we talked about CPT, it's a day one CPT. And I see it a lot again with my Indian clients. They like to use day one CPT. And that means that they can actually start working the day they start the school. And I just want to point out that it's possible. It's not the best. Government is really checking all these schools that are using day one CPT, especially when these individuals later apply for H-1B. The government likes to question it. So I just want to make sure and put attention on day one CPT that it's always the best for students to check it out and maybe speak with attorney or DSO to make sure it's okay.
Super. So folks, if you're looking for those visas, student visas, you know where to go. Legal excellence and responsive client service. That's what NPZ Law Group assures you when you reach out to them for any and all matters of US and Canadian immigration. So set up a consult with them today at visaserve.com or just call them at 201-670-0006. Key Canadian immigration information you don't want to miss coming up in just a moment. Keep it right here on Mirchi. It's hot.